It was another quiet night at the office. No phone calls, no messages, nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore, a professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics.
We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show here on AM 830 WCRN Radio Central. You can join the conversation for the next hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Our text line is always up and running, which means you can text the show in real time at 617-297-8388, 617-297-8388. It appears on the screen here in the studio in real time. We try to work it into the show, into the conversation. Don't forget, the station does stream 24/7, like thousands of other radio stations do, on the TuneIn app. So just punch in WCRN on that. If you don't have it, seconds to download it, guys. Punch in WCRN. You'll see our cool logo. Do me a favor, hit the like button. We know you're there. We're very easy to find. You can tell Alexa to play WCRN. She'll do that, no questions asked. I do stream the show from, in this case, the WCRN studios here in Westboro. So you can do that on the station's Facebook page, YouTube channel, or on my social media platforms at Joe Mangi Show, M-A-N-G-I. That's my X account, my Facebook page, my Twitch account, our LinkedIn profile, and to Rumble. We stream live to Rumble. We don't load it up later. You can go to any of those platforms and watch and listen to the show in real time. All right, that takes care of some housekeeping today. Behind the glass on the board today, he'll get you set up and into the studio at 508-871-7000 if you'd like to join the conversation. Now, I'm just going to start the show acknowledging the passing of Robert Redford at 89 in his Sundance, Utah home, surrounded by loved ones today. He was born in 1936 in Santa Monica, California. He studied art, attended the University of Colorado, Pratt Institute, American Academy of Dramatic Arts, did some theater and TV in the early years. I mean, we know him, right? Barefoot in the Park, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting. I mean, just alongside Paul Newman, of course, some classic movie, All the President's Men, The Candidate. He was in the Avengers thing, wasn't he? He play like Secretary of Defense or something there, even at his age. So, it's that time in my life anyway, that these classic actors and stuff we grew up with are going away. James Gardner was one of the last of that group of guys. Ted, you want to
Joe, we just have to accept we'll be going to more funerals than weddings.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Yes. There was a phase in my life where I was always an usher or something at a wedding, right? I mean, in your 20s and 30s, you go to a zillion weddings, and then there's a break of things, and now you go to funerals. And I went to a funeral by accident. I don't know if I ever tell you this, Ted. My buddy Bobby Daly and I were going, and it was sad because it was our friend's mother, I think, passed away or something. And we were probably late teens, and said, well, we should go down. We go to the funeral home in Natick Center, and we go in, we sign the book, we get in this long line to do and all of a sudden we're looking around, don't recognize anyone. We're in the wrong funeral. We went into something, and at this point we're looking at, and I'm like, it would be more awkward to leave the line.
Joe, you may be onto a new screenplay. Funeral
crashes. So I said, look, we just do our thing, right? We went to the receiving line, very sorry for your loss. Right? We get to the casket to see who it is, have no idea. We do a prayer, we say our thing, and then we debated, what do you think look around? Do you think they'll have good food at the after, or should we leave? We left, of course.
It may be too soon, but there's a role in that screenplay for Robert Redford.
That is way too soon. All right, folks, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Lines are open and available. Don't forget, we're streaming if you'd like to take a look at this. Obviously, there's something about, and this was brought up, I think, on Gutfeld last night, and the assassination of Charlie Kirk isn't a story like most others that just it hits the news cycle. And if it's big, it goes for a cycle or two, or maybe three. And I don't think this is the case, right? We've got more and more stuff coming out about the whole assassination, the Discord conversations that's going on. This roommate thing, there's a lot more there. That's bizarre and weird. The surge that's going on, the number of inquiries to start USA Turning Point chapter, or Turning Point USA, I guess I should say, chapters at universities and high schools. Right now, I mean, Charlie Kirk's podcast hit number one. The books are flying off the shelves. His books are flying off the shelves. His videos, my feed, like yours, I'm sure, is loaded with Charlie Kirk's what he did, what he was doing when he was murdered. And it's not going away right away. 37,000 inquiries from people who wanted to start the chapters. That's within 48 hours of his murder. Right? It is a movement. His wife talked about it. That if you think this silence, that this is, I think I brought it up yesterday or maybe last week. A couple of these songs have come out, and there's a line in one of them about you may kill that soldier, but he has an army. And Charlie Kirk talked about this once in one of his, and they weren't even debates, I guess, questionnaires, things that he did. That, there's got to be, you take out somebody, is removed, there's got to be 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people to replace him.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are people now going to watch and read Charlie Kirk that never did before, or maybe even didn't really hear of him. Might have been a name passed in something and had no idea who it was. Now, the FBI is investigating these social media accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of this Kirk assassination. At least 7 social media accounts that posted content, they appear to hint or predict the assassination of Kirk before it took place. Some posts allegedly referenced the 10th weeks in advance. And followed by content after it that we effing did it. That obviously will get the attention of investigators and FBI, Homeland Security for that matter. So several of these accounts, they're under review. Some were deleted after the shooting. Now, one or even more of these accounts followed the roommate of Tyler Robinson. And there's all kinds of stuff coming out, right? I mean, the relationship, it was romantic, and was he transgender or transitioning? Even there were furries, all this stuff that's coming out. We got to let the dust settle on a lot of this. But these accounts and these postings, the content ranged from very dark humor, ominous predictions, to explicit references to violence or threats. So the FBI, they've obtained in their archived versions, screenshots of these posts, even though the owners in the original, they're deleting it. Again, folks, if you haven't learned this by now, let me enlighten you. Nothing really is ever deleted when it comes to digital or the internet. I know you think that you delete the text on your phone, you do. Sorry, that ship sailed, guys. Yeah. Nothing is deleted when it comes to digital. even when you delete something, there's this shadow impression of it because that data was transferred, that data was imprinted, it's there. And when you delete something, you're not eliminating it, you're just flattening over it, and it's still sitting under. Okay? So that good, you feel better you deleted that or deleted the account and you think you're good. Not so much.
Some software actually keeps a record of all deleted elements.
Yeah, your trash, your recycle bin. It's just another file, by the way. So nothing. And when you do anything on the internet, it's a long. Nothing goes away, folks. Okay. So at this point, the investigation hasn't proved that any of these individuals conspired or had a direct knowledge of Robinson's plans. It's just that these posts merit much more examination and drilling down into, because you seem to indicate foreknowledge, and that's a little more than speculating. And is it speculative or threatening language online enough? Look, distinguishing between protected speech, which can be offensive and macabre and disgusting, tasteless, absolutely. And then the difference between that and actual criminal conspiracy or aiding. It could be a fine line. But the measure of free speech is the fact that we as a society tolerate the distasteful speech in order to preserve your right. Because after all, who gets to decide what's acceptable for speech? If we surrender that to the government, it's over. So yes, we have to tolerate distasteful speech to a point. And some people, their little bubbles have been pierced when they mocked or celebrated the murder of a father and a husband, thinking the arrogance that their point of view and opinion was the universally corrected, accepted, and then they've lost their jobs, their positions, their accounts. Folks, we're coming up on the first break here on the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show at AM 830 WCRN. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Mark is holding. We'll go right to the phones on the other side of the break. So you just hold on for 2 and 2, and we will be back.
Looking for a fuel and food stop that truly stands out? Experience the Yatco difference. At Yatco, we're dedicated to bringing you the best customer service, the highest quality products, and a commitment to making your life on the go easier. Yatco has 15 convenient locations across central Massachusetts, and now our newest spot at 75 Quinsigamut Ave in Worcester. Yatco, where every stop keeps you going.
This is Jerry Doherty, host of Making Money Last, right here on WCRN. Like all business owners, I'm interested in why people choose to work with Boston Independence Group. So I asked my clients. The most common response, Jerry does not try to be all things to all people. Boston Independence Group is specialized, focused solely on retirement planning. My customers enjoy the difference. We do one thing, and we do it exceptionally well. Help other people live better in retirement. That's it. If you're ready to retire or making plans to retire, we can do for you what we've done for hundreds of other retirees throughout New England. Live better in retirement. Just give me a call. I'll show you how. My toll-free number is 877-772-1776. Again, that number is 877-772-1776. And you can visit us on the web at bostonindependencegroup.com. bostonindependencegroup.com.
Supplements are a tricky business. Some are made in China and other countries with poor quality control. Many supplements contain fillers and dyes that may actually harm you. Many ingredients are not bioavailable and can't be used efficiently by your body. Let Phil George, the biochemist from Wellness Wave Radio, help you navigate these minefields. Just contact Phil at philgeorge@charter.net for a free consult.
All right, folks, welcome back here. Second segment on the Tuesday edition here of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Radio Central AM 830 WCRN. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Don't forget we're streaming. You can join us and watch and listen on the social media platforms or on, of course, Rumble as well. Let's go to the phones. Mark is waiting patiently. Hey, Mark, what say you?
Have you heard, maybe through the grapevine, maybe we have sources within the media, Phil? Have you heard anything that apparently Bongino and Patel are thinking or are in the process of opening a conspiracy investigation with regards to the shooter and his immediate circle of friends, I guess you could say. In other words, open a conspiracy, because according to what I heard this morning, that not insignificant money drops were made not only into his boyfriend-girlfriend's account, I'll call them
Democratic Social, the DSA. That's a story, sir.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
And not only to his boyfriend-girlfriend account, not in substantial amounts, they didn't say, but into his account as well. This is after, just like they say, over like a 2-year period where he dropped out of Utah State in the first semester, disgruntled, whatever, and then he went to some kind of a technical school. So they're talking about a 2-year period where he had, all of a sudden, he get a drop. Yeah. But they're saying they're going to look into the sources of these drops, and they're also going to look into the social media and all these different platforms. And, they're saying they're right on the edge of issuing, guess what? Subpoenas.
Yeah, Mark. I did hear this. Thank you very much for the call. So here's what happened so the listeners can catch up to this. There is a story going on that, there was $50,000 that put into Tyler Robinson's account. And they said that it came through some of these NGOs and organizations for community organizing from the DSA, Democratic Socialists. However, the DSA has come out and said, wait a minute, there is a Tyler Robinson, totally different person, much older, different state, not this kid. Tyler Robinson is not that unique of a name, so okay. So they're distanced themselves. They have no records. The National Democratic Socialist Party has no absolute connection to this particular Tyler Robinson. So yes, I saw the stories. I've read the stories. I've also read the debunking of those stories about that. But to your point, Tyler's accounts, Tyler's partner, whatever shape form that is, I think I'm very confident saying he wasn't just a roommate. There's obviously a relationship there. And whether the roommate was where he was in his transition, I have no idea, nor do I care. But I'm more interested, as is the FBI and the Utah State Police and investigators there. And they will absolutely tear every single bank account associated with any of these people, families too, as well as every social media account, even snail mail. Any contracts they've ever signed, the lease to the $1,800 a month townhouse they were living in, car, insurance, cell bills, all of that data will be collected. It will be mined. It will be analyzed to get a clearer picture. However, though, the story circulating about the connection to the Democratic Socialists and funneling money for the yes, according to the story out there, but it's been debunked, and it's been debunked by other outlets. It's been debunked by the National Democratic Socialist Party, going on record of no, we certainly haven't paid it. But I got to tell you, and I've said this for a long time, folks, and I warned you about it years ago. Keep an eye on these NGOs. They're basically the perfect money laundering vehicle. They're able to get taxpayer money, and then there's no accountability. Once it goes to these NGOs, they spend it. And this is how they funneled your taxpayer money to house, transport, feed, clothe illegals instead of them being detained in detention centers, which is how it's supposed to work. And I know, especially all my South American friends who watch this with the translator on Facebook is probably not liking me to hear it. It is the law. It is just what it is. If you don't like it, run for office or go to your legislator and have them sponsor a bill to change our laws. But until that happens, we have sovereign borders. We have immigration laws. We have a border patrol. We have a customs department. We have a Homeland Security Department. We have an FBI. And this is what their jobs are. This is what their function is. 508-871-7000. To join the conversation, lines are open and available. You're welcome to join the conversation at any point. Yeah. Ted, you want to?
Yeah. I was going through some of the older Charlie Kirk recordings. And early on, somebody challenged him about illegal immigrants having constitutional rights. And what Charlie said was that, well, if somebody has a visa, a green card, and they're legally here, and they commit a felony, then yeah, they're entitled to due process within the law before they're deported, if they're deported.
And that visa, by the way, folks, is absolute courtesy. You have no right to this.
Right.
And Marco Rubio has addressed this multiple times.
Right. But what Charlie went on to say was that it's a restricted by their oath when they sign their application.
To adhere to the laws.
And to defend the Constitution of the United States and not challenge our sovereignty.
Exactly.
So there are limits. Like, for instance, they can't vote. If you have a green card, you can't vote. If you have a green card, there are many restrictions. So to equate even a legal alien having the same rights and privileges as an American citizen is erroneous.
Yeah, good point. Because, yes, you can be here legally, which
that's Charlie. That's not.
Yeah, that is Charlie, and I've seen those too, and I agree with him for the most part on that stuff. Because, again, you're here legally. Well, you can achieve being here legally through a couple of things, like the visa, a green card, and a green card is a little more permanent than the visa because you're an alien, resident alien here, meaning you're not a citizen, but you are allowed to live here. And you're allowed to be employed and work and pay your taxes. You can do everything short of voting. And this is prompting this massive illegal invasion over the last several years has prompted questions. What I was thinking of doing the poll question. I saw it online the other day, and I was thinking about this. Should we post ICE officers at polling places to ensure that illegals aren't in fact voting? I know what the response is to that by the left, of course, that's anti-voting and that's intimidation.
That's a great big ICE van out in front.
You could just park the van, nobody there, and probably there. But if you are an illegal, are you going to actually walk into a polling place and try to pull that off? And here's the other thing: I've seen stories where people who are illegal, but in states like New Jersey, Massachusetts, New York, California, Illinois, etc., where illegals can get the license. And I had this hang up on this back when this was happening in Massachusetts, and Senator Moore used to join me once a month on the show, and he voted to give them licenses, and because the big city's chief of police association said, we should do that. Of course, they said that because in the big cities, we're talking, Boston and Worcester and New Bedford and Fall River, where there's a massive population of illegals. Almost every car that they end up pulling over has an unlicensed driver in it because they're illegal and can't get the license, or used to be that way. And guess what? Color me surprised, I know. Guess who never showed up for the court date when they gave him a ticket? Yeah. So now who do you actually, who did the judge issue the bench warrant to? Because you had no idea who that really was in the first place. Because there was no vetting, people. There's no vetting. So here's the thing, we're against the clock, but I've had this position for so many years, I can't even remember how many, is yes, we need what is going on, the crackdown on the border, the enforcement of our sovereign border, and the enforcement of our immigration laws. At the same time, a complete revamp of our immigration laws, meaning that we need to have some kind of application for those who would like to be able to come here and work and live, not as citizens initially, but on that path. But if they want to come here and they are not a member of a gang, if they don't have a criminal history or mental health issues, then, and we can prove with their birth certificate and records from wherever they are, that they are in fact who they are, and this is my life up until this point, then we issue them that kind of, we'll have to come up with a name for it, visa, work permit, whatever it is, come on in and do it. But we know who you are, and we'll give you a license in that name. And then we know who you are when you get stopped by the police. But we have to take our mid-show break here on the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN, 508-871-7000. Stick with us. We'll be back on the other side for a second half of the show. Stick with me. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. We'll be back.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spearn. Here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. After a foggy morning, it's going to be partly sunny this afternoon with high temperatures in the low and the mid 70s. Now, overnight tonight, we've got another batch of that fog expected. Once it burns off, you've got some increasing clouds for your Wednesday forecast. Temperatures will be quite similar for the day tomorrow. We do get into some shower chances late in the day that continue into Thursday morning. I'm meteorologist Sherry Spearn. You can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
More live and local radio is next. Stay tuned to Radio Central, 830 WCRN.
What if your body already knows how to heal? It just needs the right support to do it. Bioregulatory medicine is a total body and mind approach to health that works with your body, not against it. It's a safe, gentle, drug-free, and proven medical model that supports your natural ability to regulate, adapt, regenerate, and heal without side effects. Whether you're seeking to restore health or prevent illness, bioregulatory medicine offers a smarter path forward. Take control of your health with knowledge. Visit brmi.online, home of the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, a nonprofit global leader offering a powerful free library of trusted resources, articles, podcasts, videos, and more, all at your fingertips. Visit brmi.online That's BRMI.online.
All right, folks, welcome back here to the second half of the Tuesday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show. On AM 830 WCRN, our lines are open at 508-871-7000. And don't forget, you can text the show in real time at 617-297-8388, 617-297-8388. In real time, it appears on a screen like this. Any thoughts on this aspect of Kirk? Okay, so from 740, actually, where's area code 202? 20 DC. All right. Joe, okay, your gay followers would be interested in your thoughts on this aspect of Kirk affair. Make us proud. Violence is never justified, but it must be mentioned that Charlie Kirk was absolutely anti-LGBTQ, anti-Muslim, had tons of... Okay, first of all, no. When you say anti, it makes it sound like he was actively a hateful person that was going after them. And when people use the language divisive and this and that, just because somebody doesn't agree with your point of view doesn't mean they're hateful or divisive. It means they don't agree with you. But the reverse of it is true. You don't agree with them. So are you the divisive, hateful person if you don't agree with them?
Well, these are just speaking. This is narrative that has been force-fed into these people.
So to talk about Charlie Kirk, anti-LGBT, I've seen him address this multiple times on these college tours. And he has no problem with gay people, but he doesn't believe in certain things. He's one of those guys that says, hey, marriage is between a man and a woman and this and that. He's not going out at night gay bashing in alleys, folks. And he's not anti-Muslim, and he's not racist. He actually believes that race is a construct. He doesn't believe in race. And he respects Muslims because they, especially people who are very religious, for following their God and respecting their God. It might not be his God, but he has always demonstrated respect for their religion and their relationship with their God.
You know what Charlie said when somebody asked him about why he wasn't more empathetic? He said, I don't believe in the word empathy. I believe in the word compassion.
Yeah. And sympathy. And if you're going to use that quote, that I don't believe in empathy, use the whole quote and not just clip that and say that aspect of it that, oh, he doesn't believe it. He has no empathy. And what he's saying is, empathy, you can't have empathy because you can never ever truly feel what another person, because you aren't that person. Therefore,
it's a social construct.
It is a social construct. That's his point of view. Okay, so that's what it is. So I don't understand. So to you, texture 202. Yes, I am. I don't understand why you're hung up on Charlie Kirk's relationship to the LGBTQ community, to the Muslim community. He has been beyond transparent as to, if you question it, go watch some of his videos. It's not like there's a lack of them or you can't find them. Trust me, you can. And to what he says about this. And he's saying, don't I feel obligated to be more transparent and honest about all multiple aspects of Charlie Kirk? I don't know what you mean by that. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk on a lot of things, but I agree with a lot of the points he makes. I agree with his style. I've never seen the man lose his temper. I mean, of course, I only see him what everyone else has access to. But he was always very much willing to listen. He did a series at Cambridge. It was Oxford. And go watch some of that. because I mean, these students from Oxford came loaded for bear with him, and he listened and listened and let them say absolutely ridiculous things and make these. And this is the thing that happens with me, especially from the left. Ever notice you get they say these things with absolute certainty that opinion they hold and the view that they look at it is absolutely the universal accepted way to look at it, as if it's fact. And of course, Charlie holds his own on that. So is he, and let's, and I'm on record for this. Take the T out of that guy, because I don't think the T should be part of LGBTQ. Trans and gay and lesbian, they're not the same thing. And the T was never part of that until the late 70s, when trans activist decided to kind of hitch the trans wagon to the gay lesbian movement of the 60s and 70s. Ted?
Yeah, I would challenge our Washington caller, 202. I haven't read the text. You have. Give us a call. Show some courage the way Charlie did.
Yeah, the microphone's open. Come on down.
Prove us wrong.
Prove me wrong. We're listening.
508-871-7000. Again, 508-871-7000.
And we're going to go to the phones in a second. Ken's waiting. This Tyler Robinson, this Discord conversation stuff going on. FBI is releasing that he confessed to killing Kirk online. Quote, I'm reading from the story in the text. Hey, guys, I have bad news for you all, unquote. And it says that quote, it was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this, unquote. He allegedly wrote that on Discord. Then he went on to say, I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've been so amazing. Thank you all for everything, unquote. So that's, again, I don't know if he thought that was cryptic or not cryptic, scrambled and couldn't be read or whatever. But I mean, that if he wrote that and that all turns out to be, that's actually a confession. 508-871-7000. Ken, sorry, hold on. How are you? What say you?
Well, Joe, I have a simple retort for your texter.
Sure.
Why is it that Charlie Kirk was such a close friend with Dave Rubin? Ding, 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 ding. Lie, the texter. Gotcha.
What,
you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. Just fly that one by me again. Maybe I tuned out for a second.
Charlie Kirk was a very close friend with Dave Rubin.
Oh.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, look, Charlie Kirk wasn't hateful to gay or lesbian people. He didn't, that wasn't his thing. He didn't agree with it. He thought marriage, because of he was very religious, right? He was very religious, and he really thought the sanctity of the marriage was between a man and a woman, which it is in the church. But when you get down to it, folks, a marriage is, you got to get a license, right? So who's authorizing your marriage? It's the government. It's giving you a license. You get a fishing license, or a permit to carry, a license to be a barber. So, the government doesn't recognize your marriage until you go get that license. So it's a contract, isn't it? So that now you're talking about semantics. And that's that. So if you don't believe it's between a man and a woman, you don't get married in the church, or the church won't marry you. But it doesn't prevent you from getting that license. So yeah, he had a lot of gay friends, not just Rubin, right? A lot of them. So yeah. Sure. So I think the texter's more targeting me than Charlie Kirk right now. So that's
it must be the hat, Joe.
I don't know if it's a hat. Yeah. It's a fedora. It's not like it's a pillbox hat or anything, folks. It's or a wig. Okay. Yeah.
But they do it over and over again. False smear, false smear, false smear. You just got to call them out on it. It's simple.
Yeah.
But I got a good one with all that's going on because I think, we just need to stand tall and ask people because I think, for instance, in Massachusetts, you got nearly 60% are independent. Massachusetts has a lot of vertebrae. You got people who just cowards. They end up voting for the Democrat because the neighbor said they better. And we just got to push back. So, for instance, if we need to stop asking these people in the crowd, do you reject and condemn assassination culture? And if you have somebody in that group who is on your side and joins in it, I absolutely reject and condemn. You know what? The invertebrate thing, yeah, I do too. That really doesn't make any sense, does it? And there's way too many on the lefties. I heard an estimate that there's apparently about 50,000 people who lost their job in the last few days.
Yeah, Ted and I were talking about that off air. And I keep seeing those stories come across, Ken, and I'm okay with it. Actually, one of the stories I have to do is about that New Jersey doctor, right, who kind of mocked and celebrated in front of the nurses' station. The nurse turned her in. She got suspended. Well, he resigned. They accepted it, and she was reinstated.
Right. The good things happen. What do you know when you stand up for right and wrong? Do we hear about right and wrong much anymore, Joe? It's sort of like been torn out of our vocabulary, hasn't it, by the left media.
The other part of this, Ken, is this Eugene Mangione character, right? Because he has supporters for a cold-blooded assassin who murdered that CEO in not broad daylight, early morning, and he has supporters. And I can't verify this yet. One of the stories I saw, there's some people set up the GoFundMe for Robinson's family, the dad, according to a couple of stories online, I got to take it at face value, he's turned the $100,000 over to Charlie Kirk's widow and said it should go to them, not me. Now, the father who turned his son in, it had to be very difficult, and I respect him tremendously for that because it was the right thing to do. If he did, in fact, turn that money over, that's also very admirable. Ken, we're against a quick. You got 5 seconds. Last word.
The father has got old-fashioned value. God bless.
God bless him. Fourth and final. We'll be back. 2 minutes, 2 seconds, folks. Stick with us.
This October, Polar Park presents Boo in the Woo. The adult version is a haunted restoration tour with zombie-infested locker rooms, eerie tunnels, and decaying batting cages. Join us if you dare.
But don't worry, children can enjoy the weekends with Boo in the Woo for kids, with pumpkin decorating, carnival games, and family fun for all ages. Get your tickets now at polarpark.com/boo. This October, it's Boo in the Woo, just for you.
When you're planning your wedding or special event, make sure you and your guests arrive safely and on time. Choose the best. AA Transportation has over 600 vehicles and a team of licensed professional drivers, making them the largest transportation company in Central Mass. AA Transportation delivers world-class service with a personal touch, ensuring the transportation of your wedding or special event goes perfectly. AA Limousine Services can transport wedding parties up to 14 people in our luxurious stretch Cadillac Escalade limos. We provide guest shuttles up to 55 passengers in our activity coaches or buses, so your guests get home safely after celebrating your special day. For custom wedding or event transportation, call AA Limousine Services, 508-791-9100, 508-791-9100. Or visit us online at aatransportation.com.
Building AI Boston is a tech talk for everyone. Listen in to find out why you belong in the conversations shaping our future every Thursday morning, 10:30 Eastern Time on Radio Central AM 830 WCRN.
And I need the best cuisine for an event. My answer, Ziti. For that special catered event in your home, at church, temple, or a meeting house, Ziti's Restaurante, Speedway Plaza in Westboro. Ah, Ziti.
All right, folks, welcome back here. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Lines are open and available. And our text line, which I'm in a text thing here with 202, who seems to have, some kind of personal issue with me. And that's fine, but we'll take it up after the show. 508-871-7000, by the way.
Should I play the chicken?
Thank you.
Come on, call in 508-871-7000.
No, because he wants to get in personal, and it's not necessary. So Discord conversation going on here. This Tyler, he supposedly said this stuff and confessed. We'll see what that plays out on that. I want to get in a couple other stories. We only have the hour to do this, but I touched on it the other day. The Governor Healey administration, the $1 billion a year on this. Now she wants to take your taxpayer money to give to illegals to be able to buy or rent apartments or even homes. And then now we've got this story breaking with Mayor Wu handing this $254 million contract to Representative Pressley's husband's business. So we need some transparency in that. Basically, what this has to do is Conrad Harris, husband of Rep. Anna Pressley. He's listed as a partner and an investor in Dream Development. And Dream Development is one of these companies to convert Boston Water and Sewer Commission parking lots into housing. And he ends up with this contract. So questions have to be asked about the transparency, the conflict of interest there. When public contracts go to businesses in which elected officials or their spouses, Polly B, have financial interest, it raises questions about fairness, transparency, and whether relationships influence decision making. Now, even if everything is above board or legal, public confidence depends on not just legality, but avoiding appearances of preferential treatment. And this is common in law all the time because it's the appearance of impropriety that has to be taken into consideration. And if you are the spouse of a sitting rep or a mayor, governor, and your business happens to merge with state business, city business, town business, federal business for that matter, you should be very transparent because you want to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, because that is how courts look at it too. So we've got that. We don't got time to get into it. So maybe tomorrow I can get into that a little bit more. The Ruth trial going on down in Florida. That the guy's representing himself. Not a good idea, right? What's the old saying? A person who represents themselves has a fool for an attorney type of thing.
Fool for a client.
Yeah, fool for a client. The story that I made reference to, right? We have this doctor, the surgeon in New Jersey, Dr. Matthew Young of Inglewood Health. So he, according to the report, celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk, saying he had it coming and he deserved it. And he said this in front of hospital staff, in front of the nurses station. And Lexi Kunzel, she's a nurse. She was present there when he did this. And she expressed dismay in this question how a doctor could celebrate a death. Pausing for a second, a little pregnant pause. Let that sink in. A doctor celebrating somebody's death. So she reported the incident to the management, posted about it on her own social media accounts, and following speaking out, she was suspended without pay, which she alleges was retaliation for speaking up. Filed a lawsuit against the hospital and Dr. Young. Now, he's resigned. The hospital put out a statement. We accept his resignation. Of course you do. It was prearranged. Duh. And the nurse, Kenzel, She's been reinstated at her job. She will receive full pay while she was out. And the hospital stated she was never told she was fired. Well, that's interesting. And her suspension is part of a review process. Well, fired or suspended when you're told not to come to work because you reported a doctor's behavior that was unacceptable, you should really be protected for that point, no? I mean, that's the whole whistleblower stuff. So the hospital says it's committed to maintaining respectful workplace and that investigation protocols were followed. Well, we'll see about that. But it does present questions on this, right? Ethics in medicine and professionalism. The standards of doctors to be held. Do you want, when you're being rolled in on a gurney from a car accident, heart attack, appendicitis, whatever the case is, do you have to worry about? Yeah, if you have the MAGA hat on, or what if you have a Harris Biden hat on, or you know, no hate here, or one of the equal sign hats, or something like that, or Charlie Kirk. Now, one of the hottest selling shirts in the last 48 hours, folks. I am Charlie Kirk. It's just a black shirt, white lettering. I am Charlie Kirk. Can't make them fast enough. So you have to worry about whether, not just what your doctor or nurse's political leanings are, but whether they're that kind of person that thinks if you agree with a Charlie Kirk or a Donald Trump, you deserve to die.
Could that happen in a Boston hospital?
Yeah, could it? So what standards or codes of ethics in the medical field explicitly address how medical professionals should have or behave in reacting to public tragedies or political events? Years ago, when I was hosting Radio Pride, I had doctors on and activists on, and they were talking about transgender people who would have to travel. The gist of this is transgender people who, other than, look, there's a big medical aspect to transgender, right? We've made reference to this multiple times, or I have on my show, because it's ka-ching, right? When you walk into a doctor's office and you want to go through the transgender transition,
The gravy train.
big time, because you've got for the rest of your life. It's not a surgery. Obviously, it is a surgery. I'm saying, but it's not a surgery and you're done. It's multiple surgeries, medication, hormonal treatment for the rest of your life. And for the transgender female, there is once that's done, then you have to do certain things to maintain it, because guess what, folks? Your body tries to heal itself. And it's a family show, so I'm not going to get graphic into this. So there's a lot of medical. So if you are a transgender person, you are constantly under medical care. And what had come out during the Radio Pride days was that the fact that these people who were doing this sometimes could not find a doctor in the area that would treat a transgender person. And I got to be honest, as the host of that show, to find out that maybe somebody in the Worcester area, Sutton or Millbury, didn't matter, had to go all the way into Boston every time to see a doctor because the doctor they had here wouldn't treat the transgender person. Now, I think that a doctor should treat whatever medical issues in front of them. Now, if they don't agree with that person doing that, well, where were they in the front end of it? Because that's a big decision, and that should have been a consultation taking place at that time. But if they come to them after the surgery's been done or the process has started, you should vet that doctor as you do for anything else. A few years ago, I had to change my primary care. My doctor went off to a different practice and so forth. And UMass said, hey, you want us just to assign somebody? No. I want to pick the doctor I'm going to. But it happens. But in this case, they may not agree with you politically, but are they going to actively deny medical treatment or pain relief or do everything within their power if they think you're not a good person, if they think you're an evil person because you don't agree with them? So the doctor's gone there. Now the question is, where does he go? Does this haunt him forever? We don't know. And then one more story I wanted, again, because we're against the clock here, folks, is Operation Pacific Viper. I don't know if you know this by that name, but it's the Coast Guard taking out three drug boat interdictions in one night. All right, the operation, about 13,000 pounds of cocaine were seized. 7 suspected drug smugglers were apprehended. And the Coast Guard burned and sank the drug vessel. DHS released video footage showing the boat catching fire after being repeatedly shot at. Interesting video. It was, I swear, it could have been a video from like target practice, training or something. And look, the message is, if you're bringing fentanyl, cocaine, drugs to the United States, this can happen to you. In an unrelated story, the number of boats coming to the country has dropped significantly, by the way. So since the launch of Operation Pacific Viper about a month before this incident, more than 40,000 pounds of cocaine had been seized in the Eastern Pacific. The effort, according to DHS, is part of a surge of resources. So that's cutters, aircraft, tactical teams to disrupt the drug transshipment from South America. So now you're the cartel and you're asking these, boat owners and smugglers to take this, 10, 13, 15,000 pounds of cocaine up the Pacific and take it in somewhere along the coast. Probably not a lot of volunteers for that these days, folks. All right, we're going to have to wrap up the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830, WCRN, AM 830, Radio Central. Follow me on my social media platforms at Joe Mangi Show, MANGI. And don't forget the show is turned into a podcast afterwards. And you can subscribe as you do anywhere, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Play. You know the drill if you want to get a podcast. And that'll wrap it up. Have a great day, guys. Joe out.